Today, I want to share with you something special. I call it my 3 pillars of acting success, and holy shit, did it change everything for me. Hey guys, my name is Hans Christopher. I am an actor, coach, and creator of the Working Actor series. If you're liking this stuff, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that, let's get to work. This shifted so many things for me once I started implementing this process. You've heard me talk about the artist, the child artist that lives within me. I felt like once I had this understanding of that mountain in front of me, my vision, my artist, and where I wanted to go, things just started to happen. It's almost like it just started kind of naturally going the direction I wanted it to go. And I think it's because I started implementing and doing this. So hopefully you guys can get something out of it. Hopefully, even if it's just like one gold nugget, you can take it and try to implement in your career. So let's just get started. All right, let me move this over. So what is foundation? The foundation is, like the scaffolding. If you think about a building, purpose of a foundation is to hold it up, to make it strong, to protect it so you can build out of it, build off of it. And the foundation is one of the most important things you can have. And when you look at it and think of it in terms of building your foundation as an artist, it's everything hinges off of it. Everything's based off of it. If you get your foundation strong, if you get your foundation right, and you'll see what I'm talking about, everything comes off of it. Your headshots, your reel footage, the skills you want to get into, EPKs, everything can be based off of this foundation, and it just makes everything so much easier. So I'll go to the next one. So your foundation is what you want to do with it is basically you're establishing this foundation to be a key to your success as an actor. What does it look like without a foundation? This was me for basically the first 7 years of my career. It was what we talked about, getting into the club. There's a club that we all want to get into. It's the best club in town. And unfortunately, I would just get in the back of the line like every other new actor. And the people I would learn from were the other actors in the back of the line. And I would just go in the direction, oh, this class is good. Okay, I'll do that. Oh, I have to make a reel. I have to pay for a reel. Okay, I'll go do that. I had no real understanding of who I was, what I was doing. And I just kind of was rudderless. I was just going through the motions, and honestly, it ended up wasting me so much time, so much money, so much energy because I didn't have a clear path and understanding of what I wanted to do. So that's the significance of your foundation. So breaking down, going into it, what do I see this foundation as? I break it down into 3 parts. 1, the artist. I talk about the child artist, or if you look at my logo, the little knight holding up the thing, that's the artist. Number 2, the mountain, which is your vision. And number 3, the path. I love metaphors in this class. I truly believe that child artist, that thing that we want to cultivate and create a safe space, doesn't speak in the same language as the director. And metaphor to me is a way to be able to put him at ease and let him or her know that you have a plan, that there's, things are going to be okay. So I love this concept of the mountain, the knight, the journey, the hero's journey, kind of Joseph Campbell stuff is where this came from. So it's the artist, the mountain, and then the path, what's directly in front of you, and laying that out. So that's kind of what the foundation is. Now, what you are shouts so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Emerson. That is one of my favorite quotes. And, I think it's funny because I think actors, and I can only speak for myself in this, but it's something that I see with other people. I spent so much of my life working on what I was saying, what I was trying to show, what I was presenting, and so much of my life ignoring what was actually happening on the inside. What does that look like? That looks like showing up to class and, getting roles where I'm supposed to be leading man, tough guy, and feeling so scared and terrified inside and not speaking to that truth, not allowing that truth to come out. So what ends up happening in that scenario is they're so displaced. You have so much of a difference that it just doesn't ring true. It's uncomfortable. You see the nerves, you see me shaking, you see everything happening, and it just doesn't ring true to what it is. So this really spoke to me in kind of setting up this first part. So number one, the artist, the first pillar of your foundation is your artist. We got to take a deep dive into what makes you interesting, what makes you unique, what makes you special. And most importantly, the reason we're doing this is so that you can figure out what you're selling. This probably will sound familiar to you guys. This is your superpowers. This is finding those things that makes you different, that makes you unique. That's what we're going after. And it's funny, but just in teaching the lesson with you guys on superpowers, I came up with another one for myself that was so great. It's the superpower of conviction, right? And my friends have always said to me that when I believe in something, I'm like a cult leader in the sense that I can sell anybody on anything, but I have to believe in it. For example, when I got into matcha green tea, I think I got like 15 people to get matcha green tea. This is like 10 years ago, just because I was so into it and I was feeling so good. And then broccoli sprouts and all these other, I'm super into biohacking, stuff like that. But I always get into these new things, and when I'm into something, I'm into it. And that was a part of me that I hadn't explored, but it's one of those things that I think if I lace it into my breakdowns, if I lace it into some of the characters, there's so much truth, and it's so true to who I am, one branch of who I am, that I'm starting to play with some magic when I do that. So how do we unearth this? How do we unlock that in you? How do we find the artist? The first thing I do is imagine a triangle, right? The triangle starts here with you. Most important thing, how do you see yourself, right? First thing is, how do you see yourself? Second thing is, how do others see you? And the third is, how do you want to be seen? And the space, how far these are apart from each other, is going to determine how either true you are to your essence is coming through, or how out of touch you are with how casting is seeing you when you walk in the office, or how you want to be seen and you're not living up to that. Our goal is to turn this triangle and get it into a place where it's marrying all three of those elements. And when you do that, you get your superpowers. That's what we talked about in the superpower lesson. So that's number one. It's who you are. So by diving into these three versions of yourself, beginning the process of incorporating each of these elements into a specific and honest breakdown or snapshot of you, we're able to unearth kind of your true essence. And now we have something that we can sell, and more importantly, something that we can use for headshots, auditions, real footage, everything else is based off of that. So the second part, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Helen Keller. I love this quote. This really speaks to, I'm sure you guys have heard this, the importance of a vision, but it speaks to this next part, which is the mountain. Second pillar is your vision for the future. And especially when it comes to acting, what does your vision for the future look like? What does success look like to you? And here's the most important thing. Why? Why do you want success? Why is it important to you? If you can unearth a strong why, it is going to overpower everything, because things will get tough. You will get knocked down. Things are going to happen that want to make you quit, that want to make you turn back. And if you have a strong enough why, you will continue moving forward towards your mountain. And it's inevitable, but you've got to find a strong why. So think of your mountain or your vision like a compass, right? You want to basically use it as a guide. Or like a North Star. That's the direction I want to go, and then I'm going to go there. You do not want to use it as something that you compare yourself to, or you look at and say, I need to get there. And you also don't want to go through the process of clinging. What I do with people I coach is I have them write a vision for their future, either 3 years or 5 years, depending on how long you've been in it. And then I have you post it somewhere where you can see it. And then I also have you print another one out, and we go through a process or a ritual of burning it to symbolize letting go of it, not clinging to it, not making sure that it has to happen, because that's going to prevent you from getting what you want. So we have to go through a little process where you believe you're capable, you believe you're going to get there, but you don't cling to it, which is really important. So it just serves as your compass, shows you that you're going in the right direction. What the vision is not. So vision sets us in the right direction and drives us towards the things when things get tough. I just said this stuff. Number 3, the journey of 1,000 steps begins with, or the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Lao Tzu, that's the Tao Te Ching. I talked about it a lot in these lessons. But this is the third pillar. This is the path. I call it like illuminating the path or clarifying the path in front of you. So if we're on this journey, we're going up this mountain, this is the process of seeing what's in front of you, creating your road and using it kind of as a roadmap to figure out where you need to go, or at least what direction you need to go and how you're going to do that. So the path is by establishing what I call it the next 5 steps. So what we do is we basically uncover the next 5 things you want to do. If you know that's your goal, what are the next 5 things you need to do that are going to get you in the right direction, that are going to take you towards those things? And then we only focus on those 5 steps. And in fact, we only focus on the next step. And I'd set you up on a 12-week, I call it a 12-week year. So you have 12 weeks to get that next step done. And then we focus on the next step, and then we focus on the next step. Now there's times that you're not going to be able to do it. Your headshots won't be for 8 months out, or you're not going to have shoot something for a while. But as long as we can focus the process on those next 5 steps, it silences all the noise and all the stuff that's going around, and this feeling that there's so many things that I should be doing and everyone else is doing so much. And if you just focus on these next 5 steps, you've got your vision and you have an understanding of who you are, you're going to find that you continue to move and you continue to go in the right direction. So here's an example of what my 5 steps look like. I think this was last year, but this is just an example of mine on the 12-week year. Number 1, I was get in with Killer Bicoastal Top 10 Agency. Number 2, editorial headshots with my new hair. Number 3, prep a PR rollout for Marmalade release. Number 4, slate for 5 Entertainment, which is my entertainment company with 5 projects ready to pitch the scripts. And number 5, pre-production for my short film, The Other Side. So this is the 5 steps, or each step isn't something that's a small, I call them actions, or the things we do for weekly progress. These are 10 to 12 weeks, kind of big steps that you do that are actionable, that you can do, something that you can take care of. So I don't put stuff down there that's like get a co-star or anything that's outside of what you can do. I don't put on here. I just put things that we know we can do, that we know what we're capable of doing, but are going to cause you to have to stretch and to reach a little bit. And by doing this process, it really allows you a system, our process to kind of fall back on. Well, that's what we're going to get into after this. So here, a golden rule came out of this. I know I had the other golden rules, but there's more. I think I'll end up releasing another 5 eventually. But here's the reason why this is so important is when everything goes to shit, because it's going to happen, if you have this process, this system in place, it's very easy what you do. You just focus on the next step. My buddy who's in my class, when he was in the class, he said he got this vision of a guy going through a sandstorm. And he said he's had it multiple times this last year as we've been going. And he just envisions himself as like putting this robe over his head and walking slowly in the right direction because he thinks it's the right direction. And then all of a sudden something happens, he books something or something happens, and now it's cleared up and he's back on it. But that's the reason I created this. It wasn't for the good times. It wasn't for when I call it rowing or going hard. It was for the bad times. I think it's this next one. It's for the bad times, for when, the James Clear quote, basically, that I think is the next slide, but it's we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our process. What this is I'm implementing or trying to put a process that is unique, that was unique for me. This is what I did for myself, and that if you start to put in the things that you want in this thing, I think it's a system or a process that you can fall back on. And it's just gonna. If you implement these things like I did, I think it could be amazing for you. And maybe it won't. This isn't for everybody. Some people are probably looking at this like, what the fuck is he even talking about? But I'm hoping some people will get stuff out of it and be able to use it like I've been able to use it. So I said the quote already. So this is the foundation. This is the foundation of the work for the working actor. Creating a process that works for you, a process that propels you towards your acting dreams. So the whole concept, I just talked about it a little bit. I think I've already said it, but the whole reason I did this was because when I went through this and I started working these steps and working this system, it started feeling like it was effortless, like it wasn't as hard. You know, I my whole life I went through this period of I'd work really, really hard, and then I'd burn out and I'd have to leave for 2 or 3 months and stop and throw my hands up. Or I'd work really hard and then I'd fail, crash, fall on my face. All those lessons I talked about yesterday on set. I wasn't able to go through those things and just be like, oh, cool, I fucked up. That's awesome. There was usually a process after that of me being like, I'm the worst. I want to quit. I can't believe I did this. So this process and this system was really set up because of that for me, to have this system of like, okay, shit hit the fan. We fucked up. Something happened. But we have this system. We have this process in place. And as long as you just work these steps and go through the process, you're going to get back on track. So that's why I kind of turned this into this for me. And I call it the process of sailing. That feeling of once it starts to feel a little easier, like things are just kind of happening. I call it feels like sailing. And you'll notice people start coming up to you and be like, wow, so much is going on. You feel like I feel like you just have such a good understanding of what you want or who you are. And it's weird when people start saying that to you, but it's also really cool. So I already explained why I like these metaphors. I just think it's my job for me is I've done a lot of work the last 5 years in therapy and kind of getting an understanding of how sensitive I am and this child artist I have, how sensitive he is. And this is all kind of for him, to get him to be able to be comfortable in different environments and to feel like he's being heard. If that sounds crazy, I understand. Me 10 years ago, if I heard myself talking like this now, I would probably be like, what the fuck is he even talking about? But now it makes a lot of sense to me, and it's helped me a lot. So quick recap. So the foundation was a key to basically all the choices I made. Once I put this in place, I felt like I started making decisions that were precise, that were instrumental in the next step that I was going. I wasted so much money on headshots and doing things that I didn't even end up using. And by doing this, I started to really become specific on classes that I wanted to take, specific on people I wanted to shoot with and why, specific on wardrobes that I would set up. I just got my specificity on the way I auditioned, the way I did things. It just went to another level. It's why I created all these lessons and all these things, was because I really started refining my game into things that I felt like have helped. And I'm still on this process. I'm still doing this. I feel like I'm halfway up my mountain. So I just want to say too, like, I've talked to you guys about this before. The concept of the working actor is not about me whatsoever. That is you. That is your mountain. And the working actor is the work that you're going to put in to become a professional. Like, that's the concept of the working actor. It wasn't about like, here's a working actor teaching you how to be a working actor. It was more about the work that you need to put in to become a professional. So that's the concept behind that. And then one final thing that I'll use. I'll probably do a lesson out of this because I think this is so important. You'll learn more about this. Well, this is what I use for my Game Changers, kind of the live Zoom or group class that I do. Is take this with you. So if the mountain is there, you're the artist. You have the path in front of you. There's this other part, which is the journey, right? What happens when you start going on the journey? And I've shared with you guys some of the tools that I use in the mindset, facing dragons, that concept of what I do to face a dragon. I've shared with you some other things. I think Ho'oponopono and the releasing some of the stuff. They're great for when you're on the journey. But the best thing that I do is this evaluation process. Is I try to check in with myself, and the first thing I ask is, scale from 1 to 10, where's my mindset? How's my mindset right now? I find that if your mindset is in a bad place, if something's affecting you, whether it's industry related or not, if your mindset is in a bad place, it is going to affect everything else you do. So your number one priority and goal is to try and get your mindset back to a strong place, to get it back to where you're feeling good. Number two, I check in 1 through 10 is my skill set. How am I feeling about my skill set? Am I in a class that I feel like I'm growing? Am I doing things at home that I feel like I'm growing and learning and trying new things? Or am I feeling a little dull, burnt out? Am I feeling not inspired? I have ways to kind of fix all that stuff, but it isn't until you start to get good at evaluating yourself that you start to come up with solutions to kind of change those things. I think I talked about it yesterday, but one of the biggest things that I found for me inspires me is art in different capacities. It can be poetry, it can be books. Baldwin did it for me. The Peregrine did it for me. Watching performances, There Will Be Blood gets me every time. The second I start watching it, I want to pull a scene out and just recreate that scene and work on it. Deadwood does it for me. But you got to figure out what are those things for you? What are art feeds the artist? What are those things for you that are going to help you? And I've always found that those have helped me both with mindset and skill set. And then the third thing is the whole reason we put the CEO cap on was the business. You want to evaluate 1 through 10. How is the business? As the CEO of the company, how's it looking? How's the product? How's your sale? How's your pitch? What's your mission statement? What for this business that you have, this product that you're selling, you the actor, how is it? How's it going? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel good about your team? Do you feel good about your publicity and how you're showing up through your social media accounts? How you're showing up on Google? How are you showing up if they type in your name? Casting or producers type in your name. You just want to make sure all of that aligns with what we've created, the superpowers and your materials. And once you can start getting all of that stuff to be aligned, things are going to start happening for you. It's going to be hard. If you do all these things, it's going to be hard for things not to start happening for you. That said, this is a lot of work. And this is a process that it's like that onion that I talked about. You're going to continue to peel layers and get deeper and deeper and deeper and figure out things about yourself that you weren't even aware of. And then once you have this in place, you figure out how to incorporate that, turn that into your breakdown, turn that into your materials, and you'll find other superpowers and other things you can use. So, hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you liked it, please leave me a comment or a like below. If you stayed this far, you get to hear this beautiful accent. I don't even know what it is, but it's beautiful like you. Thank you.